All right, here we are, and here we go once again. Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. It is the last and final day of September. How about that? Here we are once again, another Wednesday night Project Healing Water special. 2 hours dedicated to the veteran participants of Project Healing Waters fly fishing, specifically targeted for my friends here at the St. Cloud program. Yeah, we used to meet out at the St. Cloud VA every Wednesday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And on account of coronavirus, COVID 19, here we are teaching remote, offsite in my basement. AKA, I got a little sign up there. It says the Fly Bunker. I got a little busy with the old label maker, and yeah, a label maker is a great thing to have on your fly tying bench. If you have a lot of bins and drawers and tubs, if you can't see everything all the time, then label it up. That's what you got to do. Label it up. Um, Not sure who's trying to call me there, but they're gonna have to wait till later. So, how's everybody doing today? I think we should all just here. I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. Another Wednesday night. It's been an honor and a privilege to just be here every week, come rain, come shine. Things are starting to get a little cooler. The water. Last I checked on the water, it was really starting to change color, starting to look kind of teaish, a little dirty tea stain from all the leaves and foliage ending up and soaking and just steeping in the water. So, yeah, good evening. Yep, another good Minnesota day. I had a bonfire the other night. That was pretty cool. I save all my sticks and twigs and branches that I clean up from the yard, and then I chuck it in the bonfire pit. And had a nice little burn the other night, and I got another stack. I should get out there and cover it somehow, maybe with a tarp, keep it dry. How about this weather, man? Talk about a cold front coming in here. I'm not even sure what the weather is, but I was out mowing a lawn, and that cold front, I think it was a cold front that came in. Um, I don't know. Well, so I think I have this video labeled as a Congo Clouser, and basically it's going to be a synthetic haired Clouser minnow, but I have all this different colored Congo hair, and this is from a company called the Fly Tyers Dungeon. Um, a lot of these synthetic hairs come in different varieties and such. Maybe we'll pull out some red and leave some of this brown out, and some yellow. We're going to have fun creating some different color combinations on these Clousers. I like having a synthetic Clouser from time to time. Um, there's not much to them. They really like to get down to the bottom of the water, and sometimes that's where the fish are. And if you're not careful, you will lose as many Clousers as you can. If you're not stripping it at just the right tempo with the right flow of the water, even though they ride hook side up theoretically, sometimes it is just like you're dredging the bottom with a Clouser minnow. Um, I can think of one person in particular, our good friend Mary. She was pretty good at dredging, at least the Mississippi when she came out to visit. Dredged the Mississippi with the Clouser. chasing that largemouth bass. So we're gonna get busy tonight. We're gonna tie some these basic, easy peasy, just like a Clouser minnow, but without the deer hair. We're gonna be using a that synthetic Congo hair. So let's go ahead and flip our camera over to the bench. I went ahead and tied one earlier, and we're gonna do our best to keep our eye open and making sure that the camera, the Wi-Fi doesn't quite have a major malfunction again. So, basic portions, and as we know about our Clouser, they will be riding hook side up. So, a little something like that. I think we're doing good. Alright, so let's go ahead and just crank a few of these out. I mean, I've got all sorts of Clousers, shapes, sizes. I think a Clouser, in my opinion, I think one of the things that makes a Clouser minnow so great is just the sheer fact that it's just basically a blank canvas. You can really apply the principle of imagination being your only limitation when it comes to the Clouser. So let's go ahead and get our hook, our Mustad 3366 size 2. That's what we're going to be tying with tonight. You can tie them bigger, you can tie them smaller. You can tie them exactly the same size with this exact same hook. That's alright. Just about like so. We got to probably slide this guy back just a little bit. Alright, first things first. I'm going to be using a green 210 denier. Not a green, but a chartreuse. Hot chartreuse. If it ain't no use, it ain't chartreuse. Alright. So, we need to get our thread on. We're going to aim right at the 1/3, 2/3 point for this. That first one that I tied was probably a little bit far forward. But we're going to go ahead and just lay a little thread base right here. And sometimes some people make little cradles, sometimes they don't. But you do want to build a little bit of a thread base. Build that up just a little bit. And the painted lead eyes, here we go. The ones I'm going to tie on are red, not chartreuse. They came in they're from a different bag. But these are chartreuse, medium, and I believe that comes out to, there we go. I think this is the right, yeah, 1/30th of an ounce. But I'm going to be tying on the red. So if we look at our eye, if we compare it to that little spot right there, it doesn't take up too much of that gap, but if we move it to where that thread is, it fills in that gap quite a bit. It's just about maybe 1/3, and that covers about 2/3 of it. So eyes, they don't have to be too complicated. I'm just going to take a couple of wraps, then I can position it. I'm going to go the opposite direction, and then we can just do some crisscross wraps. Nice and tight, nice and tight. We'll lasso around and just take all those fibers of those threads and just kind of mush them together. And then it's always important to wrap a few wraps in front and in behind, and that will assist in keeping everything from moving and sliding. You can add a dab of Zap-A-Gap if you want. Not entirely necessary. You could just add a little bit of head cement in there. And I would do that earlier on than later on, just so it gets kind of sucked into the shank of the hook. At The deeper we can go, the better. So one of the things we know about our Clousers is that they will tend to ride hook side up. So top is down, down is up, left is right, and right is up. I don't know. I don't know how that all goes, but we're going to take a little bit, we're going to start off with a little bit of a cream colored Congo hair. Just take this kind of, it's a bait fish cream. And I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Sparse is nice, less is more or less, right? So we're going to take a small little clump, just about like so, about half as much as what you think you'll need, because we're going to do our multiplication by division. Give that a clean trim off, and watch this. We're going to fold that over, doubling its density. We're going to multiply that by division. Alright, so there is our back end. That's our bottom. That's our belly. Alright, we want to measure this out about a hook's gap, or a hook's length, kind of sticking off the back end. So I'm going to measure that out once. Hold that back there, and we're going to put that right there for twice. Make sure we keep that on top. We'll go underneath. We're going to catch that on the back side. I'll do an open spiral to the rear, all the way to the back end, and then we'll bring it forward. That's a beautiful thing. Alright, come underneath it again, and we're back up front. So it's a sparse as narce kind of tail, guys and gals. We're not going for super dense there. In this front end, I guess we could have, if we wanted, we could fold that back and tie that in, maybe. I don't know. We'll maybe do that on the next one. I'm going to keep this about as clean and as simple as we can. Alright, so there it is. That is that. Let's go ahead and flip this bad mama jamma right on over. If you have a rotisserie vise or a full rotary vise, you just go ahead and flip it over. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of flash. I found myself, I have no idea what color this would technically be. It's an older crystal flash, and it feels old. It doesn't feel as crinkly as it could have been, or should have been, or once was been. But we're going to just grab a few strands of that, and we're going to tie that in as well. Let's see here. We got Dale is in the house. Good evening from Iowa. Iowa. Here we go. Alright, and with our crystal flash, I want to take this just a little bit past that belly hair, and we're going to go ahead and just tie that in. Make sure that stays on top. And because I'm generous, I'm just going to take the remainder of that and not bother trimming. And we'll just fold that right back. Alright, we want to make sure that definitely splits the hook there. I think that'll be just fine. Alright, so let's see here. What's going to be our next color combination I got going on here? What I did before, it was an orange shiner. And it's actually a blend. It's got a little bit of yellow, a little bit of gold. It's kind of a creamsicle. If you just went, just blindly grabbed one bit of it, we could kind of go for a lighter, brighter pink. But I like going for just a little bit, just a little bite, a little bit of everything. And we're going to take a little bit more than what we did with the belly. I'm going to go ahead and trim that off nice and close. And just like we did before, we're going to multiply by dividing. And let's go ahead and just give that a trim. I'm sure we could just tie it on there and try to flip it over, but I think it's nice to just go ahead and give it a trim, and that way we know what we're dealing with. So if we look at the end there, I got this nice square cut end. Actually, the cut end is on this side. This is the factory cut end. If we want, we can feather that out just so we don't have a super sharp chopped edge. And just like we did before, I'm going to take this out just a little bit, like I said, just a little bit past that white belly. So it's actually going to be a little bit, maybe about a hook and a half will be in the back. So there's our hook, and there's our half, and we'll park that at the rear. So yeah, just about like so. We'll get that around. That's one thing about the synthetic hair, is it can get caught around. So what I like to do is I'll just take 1-2 wraps, and then I can just adjust and position the hair where I want it. And it's almost not even fair calling it hair, because it's I guess it is fair. Alright, we'll give this a nice angled cut. I got that trimmed at an angle, and what that'll do is when we wrap our thread forward, it all pinches down and it'll make a nice clean cone. We're going to work our thread back and forth a couple of times, maybe once back, and then once we get up front, that shall be it. That is a nice looking front end there, I might say. We'll finish with a whip finish. And that's it, baby. That is our, what are we going to call this? The Orange Shiner Congo Clouser. Alright, and because I really want this to be bulletproof, we're going to come in with a little bit of insurance policy, as I like to refer to it sometimes. We'll go ahead and flip this over, actually. Get this back into its kind of natural state into the vise. And before we go too far, I'm going to just take an opportunity and just brush that out. So we took the basic concept of a Clouser minnow and replicated it with synthetic hair. So a little bit of insurance policy. I'm going to come in with a little bit of the secret sauce, Sally Hansen's, and it does have this nice brush-on applicator tip, and we have that big hunk in front end. So guess what? Normally I just dab it on with the bodkin, but with tonight, we're going to just send it. Get it right between the eyes and into that cone head. Because like I said earlier, if you're fishing a Clouser, the odds are you're going to be dredging it, bouncing it, skipping along the bottom. I've been in certain instances where I have actually found that I've just ground the top of that off, just grind it on the stones, onto the rocks. So there you have it. That is a Congo Clouser. Pretty simple, pretty basic. I think it's something pretty near anybody should be able to tie. So what do we think? Congo Clouser. A lot of stuff happening there, but it is about as simple and as fundamental as it gets. So How are we doing? We got a few of us tuned in tonight. We got Josh in the house, Dale's in the house. Who else do we got? How are we doing? Good evening. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. We do this every Wednesday night from 6 o'clock till about 8 o'clock ish, depending on if things crash or not. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, nothing crashes. Let me hit my mute button here. I'm going to take a big slurp of coffee. That's it. Gotta love it. Good coffee, nice and hot. It's definitely slurpable. So, there's that. There's that basic clouser. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun. We're going to kind of dabble down or dive down the rabbit hole, and we're going to just experiment with some different color combinations. So this will be two like this that are the same. And yeah, let's see what we can come up with. We'll just head back over to the bench. We got 3Cast Rich in the house. Hiya, Paw. Let's go ahead and boom, switch that over. And we'll get another hook in the vise. Where did I put those? There they are, hiding behind the coffee. So again, I am using tonight our golden standard here, our Mustad 3366 size 2, size 2s. I guess part of my reasoning, I don't know, this time of year, the goldies, the yellows, the light olives, kind of, nature speaks to you and you should listen. So, nature is turning the leaves in the fall and everything's turning into these bright, bright colors. Maybe we should try to just kind of keep that in mind as we tie. So a little bit of a base. And let's find our eyes. These are our medium dumbbell eyes. Got a little bit of snarf in there. Let's get it in position. And then we can do a couple of cross wraps. We gotta slide that forward. We're just a little to the rear there. And the trick with the dumbbell's eyes is you're not gonna get it to sit exact in position exactly the first time every time. And I don't think it's something to even stress yourself out about, because as you can see, once you get it going, you can position it wherever you want it. And that goes with almost any material. You just give it a couple loose wraps just to get that initial bite on it, and then you can drive it home later. We didn't do it before, but we'll do it on this one just because we can. Just a little dab of insurance policy right there on the top portion of that thread, and that'll all get soaked in there and absorb and do its thing. And we'll just keep doing some cross wraps. Right, you're just lashing that down. And then we'll do some wraps around this way, and then we'll do a couple to the rear, and then a couple to the front. And then we'll just kind of repeat that process a second time. We'll park our thread right up front. Bada boom, bada bing. That's going nowhere. And if you do find yourself that your eyes are starting to slide and rotate while you're fishing them, that's just something that you'll have to remember when you go to tie it again, is to maybe add a little bit of glue or add a little bit more tension to the system as you're tying. Because it's not necessarily did you add enough glue, it's are you tying your flies with enough tension. I mean, are you breaking your thread all the time? Because if you're not breaking your thread all the time, just some of the time, then yeah, I think you might be applying just the right amount of tension. Alright, so we're going to come in with this cream Congo hair again. This is going to be our belly. Sparse as narce. No hackle on this fly, but I'll ding the bell anyways, just because we can. Alright, let's go ahead and multiply that by dividing. We'll flip that over once and just give that a nice clean trim. Brush that out if you want. There we go, we're looking at about 1 hook's length hanging out the back end. If you wanted, I suppose if we wanted, see if we put that in there, it would gets a little bit thick, and we're keeping things sparse. We'll go under the eyes, capture right behind. Nice tight pinch. We'll do an open spiral to the rear. Turn or two back there, and then we'll do an open spiral back up front. We kept that right on the top of that shank of that hook. Beautiful. We'll go underneath once again. So what we do is ultimately at the end, you don't have any thread. We're not cross wrapping like this at all, because then you'll get your thread over that dumbbell eye, and I don't know. It's not the prettiest of sights. Get that a nice close trim, get that excess off. Okay, so on this one we're going to change it up just a tick, just a little bit on this one. And I have a little bit of red, Alright, so I'm going to take the smallest little pinch of this red. I'm going to fold that over once. Give that a trim, and I'm going to fold that over twice. Let's see here, we'll tie this in right up front. I like that, just a little bit under there. Alright, let's go ahead and flip mode you over. Alright, let's find our little bit of flash. This is kind of a root beer crystal flash, I suppose. I don't know, 4 or 5 strands, thereabouts, more or less. And we just want to make sure these strands go just a little bit past our white belly. Alright, and because I don't want to waste much of this, we'll just take the remainder of that, fold it back. I think that'll work. We can give that a little trim if need be, but I think we're looking good. Alright. I guess another option is we could also add that crystal flash right on top, but we're going to do something just a little different. Let's grab our kind of our yellowish orange again, and I'm going to kind of go towards this golden, kind of a goldy what's nice about this is we have just so much to choose from to just kind of color combination. No two will be absolutely identical, which that is totally fine with me. I don't think, anything we do one way or another really here is going to affect the fishability of this. I mean, it's a Clouser. It's Congo hair. You can't go wrong. I'll taper that out just a little bit. You don't want a super big taper to it, but just so it doesn't look like it was freshly whacked off. Alright. And we'll take that just a little bit. Ends up being about a hook and a half. I think I like that. Right off the get-go, I'll kind of split that around the tip of that hook. Couple of turns just to grab it. And the thing about Congo hair is, or any kind of synthetic hair, is if you're not getting quality tight wraps on it, it's all going to fall apart. So hear me now, believe me later. Keep it tight. Trim that at an angle. We'll advance forward. Come on, let's get a nice clean front end like we did before. Alright, we're going to add one last little surprise on this one. One last little surprise. Because we know it works, and we know it's so effective. Check this out. Let's grab some peacock curl. Grab, 5 strands of that. Match that length. We'll just tie that in right on top. I think that's going to be fantastic. Wrap that forward just a little bit, and we're going to give that a nice clean trim, just so we know what's happening. So the tips are hanging off of the back end of that. Tied it in by the butt section. Alright, we'll just do some nice, tight, thoughtful, meaningful thread wraps. And I think that's going to be it. Finish this with a whip finish. And there you have it. So that's kind of a little spruced up, a little fancier version there. Let's go ahead and flip that back over. Hindsight, I'm kind of wishing I would have just tucked that. I wonder. I'm just gonna see something here. Just wondering if I could lash it. Without cutting into that. It looks like we're going to be able to do that, so I'm going to do that last little modification just to keep that a little bit cleaner. I like that. Now we'll finish it off with a whip finish for realsies. Just like that. I like that. Have you ever added peacock to your Clousers? I have. It may not last long, but Boy, it's going to be pretty. I mean, you get that in the water, that sucker's going to just swim. I'm pretty sure a pike or a bass or a whomever is just going to love to smash that sooner than later. Ben, thanks for tuning in. Can't stay. Phone is about to die. Oh. Have to find yourself a battery pack. What do you call those? Power bricks, power blocks. Those can be pretty handy at times. All right, add our insurance policy on here. I am like hyper vigilantly checking to make sure that my phone is staying connected to the Wi-Fi, which brings us our signal of the camera to the computer. Boy, this stuff is getting thick. There's kind of a sweet spot when it comes to your fingernail polish. Sometimes when you first get it, it could be a little runny, and then just before you chuck it, it's way too thick. But we'll be a little generous with it on top. So there you have it. That is Clouser Minnow or Congo Clouser 2.0. Seems to be tracking along fairly well. Take a little pause here and transition the camera over. Dave says, yes, that'll hunt. He likes the red throat. Have I fished this pattern? Specifically this exact color combination? No. But Congo Clousers, absolutely yes. This is just kind of judging by this end. Doesn't look like I've used too much of it, but I really like that color combination of this golden orange. So I think we're going to maybe do one more like this. I really like having that. I really like that presentation of all those components in there. And then we're going to switch it up a little bit, and yeah, we'll just switch it up a little bit. What do you think of those marbles, huh? Let's see here. Let's do... I want to do one more just like this. Let's go ahead and do that. One more just like this. I'll get my ugly mug out of here. And we'll swap out our apparatus. Set that one off to the side. We'll get our hooks. So I don't know who spends too much time on Instagram. If you are a fly angler and you're on Instagram, it can be an absolute goldmine for inspiration and ideas, for patterns, lots of fish pictures and this, that, and the other. But one of the things I see common are giveaways. Everybody's doing some sort of giveaway when they hit certain benchmarks, etc., etc. I can't afford to give anything away, so that's not going to be happening. But I was going to do a giveaway on my Instagram channel, and we were going to do a giveaway of the YouTube, because the YouTube is already free, zero cost to you, which is absolutely fantastic. If you think about what's available out there and what you can do with it, It's just really fascinating. Has anybody tried those 3D goggles? You put your phone into the little box and you strap the big thing to your forehead, and it does your phone into a left eye, right eye split screen stereoscope, I believe they call it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I really enjoy more than just watching fly tying videos and just the fishing videos. I really kind of like the vlogs of where they are, where they're going, how they got there, etc., etc. Let's go ahead and get our little red eye on there. Just 1-2 wraps just to capture it. Somehow we slid back. Back up. Back up, Terry. Come on. Right at that 1/3, 2/3. It helps balance the whole apparatus, the whole fly. And it gives you plenty of room for that nice big front end cone head. I think it's pretty nifty. Let's grab our secret sauce. We'll just add a drop of this in there. Bloop. Don't take much. In fact, that was way too much. Let's rub that out. We'll do our cross wraps, our lasso wraps, a few behind, a few up front, crisscross wraps, our lasso wraps, a few in back, and a few in front. Right, and that's going nowhere. Nowhere, I say, nowhere. All right. Let's go with our creme belly again. Call it cream white cream, bait fish cream. Nope, that's bag. Here we go. Bait fish cream. I've been loving on this for quite some time. I will say, if you're looking for a materials deal, check out the Fly Tyers Dungeon. Around the holiday time, they will have a Christmas gift box, as they call it. And what it is it's a little variety of this, that, and the other. Some really good stick-on, glue-on, holographic eyes, dome eyes, etc., etc. Good stuff, I say. Alright, let's get our tail. About a hook's length hanging out the back end. A few wraps to lock that in there. We'll go up and under. We'll do our open spiral. And then we'll open spiral it back. I like it. Just keeping it simple, keeping it sparse. Say it with me. Sparse is nurse. Always cut it at an angle. Never just straight on, because if you just cut straight on, you'll end up with a cliff or a ledge. We want a romp. Alright, we're going to go with that red again. And this time we learned our lesson. We're going to tie it in so we don't have to go back and do it a second time. Sparse is nurse. We'll multiply by dividing. Split that in half once. Give that a trim. And we're going to split that in half once more and give that a trim. Got all that. You know what, we're just going to take that right to the back of that, just into that bend. We'll wrap up front, a couple wraps, come underneath, just like that. Just almost kind of looks like a woodpecker. Almost looks like a woodpecker. Alright, same as before. Nice angled cut. And no matter what, if you keep your angle, if the tip of your angle is behind the eye of the hook, then guess what? You won't go into the eye. That's a good start for that one. Let's go ahead and flip it over. Ease of access. Alright. I'm really liking this. I have no idea what color this would technically be. I don't have anything to compare it to. It's a second-hand, hand-me-down, Second Life material. But we'll just grab a little bit of it. It kind of looks like a root beer or a brown. There's some kind of green highlights in there. It's pretty magical. I would be terrible at labeling all this stuff at the distribution facility. What color is that? Oh, that's just a magical. That's a magical color. That looks pretty good. Maybe just a tick shorter. And we'll just fold the rest towards the rear. Don't grab too much, not all at once, because like I said, even just that little fold back point, if you're not careful, you can get a ledge or a shelf, however you want to refer to it. Alright. Let's pick out something. Let's kind of go with a little bit more orange than gold. Remember, we're going to double it, so we only need half as much. And take a little bit out. Alright, we'll fold that over once, multiply by dividing. There we have it. Let's go ahead and taper out the end. It's always good to give it that little bit of a taper. Hit it with the brush if you want, just so you can get a nice visual. And that kind of gave us a really nice kind of gold and kind of a reddish hue into there. Ball that right about there. Move my thread back. See where my thread is right here, right now. We're about midway on that whole front end. I need to get back right behind the eyes, right in front of the eyes. I really like to make sure also that the material, this Congo hair, is actually going all the way around the top of that hook. That it's not just sitting in a tight clump bound up against the eye. Okay, we'll give that a nice angled cut. And it also helps that when we wrap forward, we just go a little bit at a time, and we have our thread is relatively flat. So we got a nice ledge there we got to contend with. Didn't quite get a good angled cut. Not quite like we wanted, but guess what? We shall survive. Nice and tight, guys. Nice and tight. You know what? I think last time we went a little overboard on the peacock with 5. I'm going to go with 1, 2 tray. 1, 2, 3. Tie that in with the tips towards the rear, and we want to just make sure that's nice and centered. And if you pull too tight on it too quick, it's just going to crack that wide open. I want to go up full throttle, and we don't want it to do that. Brown crystal flash, we think it might be called. I will definitely concur with that analysis. It's a beautiful color, absolutely beautiful color. Finish that with a whip finish, nice and tight. And if we want, we can give that a little brush. Just add water, as I like to say. Just add water. Alright, let's add our insurance policy, a little dab of glue-us. That's right, some secret sauce, some Sally Hansen's. I swear one of these days I should just write myself a handwritten letter to the CEOs of Sally Hansen's and say, hey, how do I become pro staff? Can I get a patch, a pin, a certificate, something? Because that would be awesome. I think that would just be the talk of the town. So I think this one we got a little too crazy up front. I think the cone, not so much. We did not end up with the cone head up front as much as I would like it to have been. We can see the difference between, I think, something that's a little bit more proper on top than the bottom one, just as far as overall shape. But I really don't think the fish are going to care. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, is that, you know, the fish aren't going to get that personal with us about it. So let's go ahead. Let's keep going with these. I like tying Clousers or Clouser style flies, because they're one of those flies. What can I say? Imagination is your only limitation. That, and you can really crank these out if you really wanted to. But it's not necessarily about how fast you can tie. It's how much fun you can have, how much enjoyment can you get out of it. Alright. Size 2 mustad 3366. What do you say? Alright. we're going to switch it up. We're going to change our theme, change our color combination a wee little bit here. We're going to keep with our chartreuse thread, 210 denier. What's nice about that 210 is look how fast, look how big that builds up and bulks up. We'll get our medium dumbbell eyes. And we'll make sure we keep it back far enough, right at that 1/3, 2/3 point. And we'll add in a little dab. A little drop of head cement right there. Doesn't take much. It'll soak in there. It'll glue up. Oh boy, always keep your cap closed too. I don't think we can... You only have to learn that lesson once the hard way. Oh boy. Let's get that tension on that thread. We'll do our lashing wraps. We'll do a couple lasso wraps. We'll do a couple behind. A couple in front. We'll wash, rinse, and repeat that. And that's what works for me. That's going nowheres. Fire Tiger Clouser. Okay, give me how to, I have to... I'm pretty sure I got all the colors. Dave, if you could give me a list of colors from the bottom up. It's I'd have to... It's yellow and this and that and all sorts of fun madness. But for this next one, yellow. They call me Mellow Yellow. Fire Tiger Clouser is a wonderful, it's like chartreuse, green, or chartreuse, olive, yellow, orange, red. It's a fire tiger. It's on fire and it's got a little bit of every color in there. Magical pattern. And it can and is a little bit of a challenge to try to tie using natural bucktail, because with natural bucktail, boy, if you're not paying attention, you can end up with a full load of bucktail, and next thing you know, that Clouser minnow is as big as your fist. And that's not necessarily what we're after. Alright, that's going to be our little yellow belly. We'll take that out about a hook's length. Lock you down up front. Go underneath. And we'll do our open spiral. And we'll bring you forward. Alright, I'm gonna add a little dab of red. I like adding this little bit of red. In fact, you know what? I got these little bits of red ostrich way down here. I wonder if I could just grab a pinch of that. Wonder what that would look like. Ooh. Kind of like that. I just saw that sitting there. I like it. It's something completely different. Alright, let's find a little different flash. I like that brown flash, but I think we might go with that again. Nay. I have a little bit of black. It kind of looks like a blackish bluish. This is a Northern Lights flash. This will give us a nice little stripe. White, yellow, chartreuse. Okay, we're gonna do our best on that one next. On the old Fire Tiger. Rawr. You know what? I'm just going to trim this off because I'm going to keep that little sparser. I don't necessarily want to double it over. But we do want it nice and tight. Alright. Now we're going to go with just straight brown. Just straight brown. Pete is in the house. It's alright. We don't mind if you're tardy for the party because we're all here. Because we're not all there. And I only speak for myself. We are tying Congo hair Clousers. We are having a lot of fun doing it. Just a little too square on me still. Here we go, that'll work. And we'll just go ahead and give that a trim at an angle. Trim that at an angle. So as it works its way forward, we progressively get less and less materials until we get all the way to the front. Nice, beautiful cone head. I like that. That's it. That's it. White, yellow, chartreuse, orange, olive, brown. Alright. And it's just the white belly, if I remember correctly, on that Fire Tiger. If I remember correctly, it just gets the white belly, and then we stack on top of it the yellow, the chartreuse, the orange, the olive, and the brown. I believe that all of that goes on top, if I remember correctly. Well, I don't know. I'm not completely sold on that up front, that red. But I like that olive, or not the olive, but that brown and yellow. I like that color combo. Just dab that on. Plenty of room to just use that nice brush-on applicator. And I think on this, like I do most of my head cement, is I trim that brush down. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. I really miss being able to sit and tie with you guys. I really do. Maybe we could have went just a little more dense on the brown, but that'll suffice. Alright, so here we go. We're going to go and try our fire tiger. I need to grab more eyes. And these could be done with bead chain or whatever you want to. Hey. There we go, there's the red. And my favorite eyes on Clousers are always going to be the red eyes, I think. I do have chartreuse eyes, and we'll tie one with the chartreuse eye next. But we're going to keep at it with these red ones. The eyes have it, I say. All right, let's get this on. Well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. You've been spending some time down in the Driftless about every other weekend, it looks like. Spending some good quality time down there. Always enjoy seeing your adventure pictures, your travels, your journeys. Hopefully next year I can get down there. I really have not fished for trout in Minnesota. I really have not targeted trout. Now, I have caught trout in Minnesota, but I sure as heck was not expecting it, especially the lake that I caught it in. It's such a weird, for me it would be not a weird transition, but a transition nonetheless between nymphing and dry fly fishing compared to bass fishing. It's two different animals. Two different beasts. Each have their own challenges in their own right. Always put that dumbbell eye right there. 1/3, 2/3. 1/3, 2/3. And we'll just get a little bit in there to soak in. When I go through, I rub that thread, and it grabs that head cement and just pulls it into itself. We'll do some lassos, a few to the rear, a few up front, and then we'll do that one more time. So after a while of learning to work with and tie on your dumbbells or any kind of bead chain, eye, or whatever, find what works for you, find what works best, and really work on replicating that time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. That way when you go to do your dumbbells, you don't have to worry about them slipping, and you're not just over tying it, because I mean you can over tie something. You can add too many wraps. It's crazy. Alright, here we go. We're going to start with our white for our belly. And this is, we're going to go just, I'm going to go just a little bit denser than the other ones. Just because proportionately we're going to have so much more stuff hanging out up front. Alright. Let's go ahead and trim that in half. This, we're going to go for the fire tigers, as close as we can get that. I think we can pull it off. Taper that out just a little bit. Here we go. So that's about 1 hook's length hanging off the back end. And then ready to go to about there. Right about there. A couple of wraps up front, getting that tagged in. Open spiral to the rear. Right to that bend of that hook. Right to the bend. A few wraps right there at the back end. And we'll do our open spiral to the rear. Bump the thread back over. And that is it. Alright. Too easy. Too easy. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip this over. We're going to add our flash, which we'll use that brown flash. Actually, I think I have some just regular crystal flash somewhere handy. If I were crystal flash handy, where would I be? Just straight, clean crystal. There it is. And this is just pearl crystal flash. Just plain old pearl. Let's go with 3. 4 wanted to come out the bag, but we're going to just trim 3 out. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. And watch this, watch this. We're going to just take that loop. Boom. We got him. Mwahahaha. That's a sneaky little trick. Alright, here we go. We need to go yellow. We're going to get our yellow. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Bumped the camera. Camera 1, you're messing with me. A little bit. Sparse is narce. Still fold it over once. Alright, we're going to just put our yellow. I'm going to go 1 wrap. 2 wraps. That's it. 1, 2. Alright, now we need to find our chartreuse. I'm pretty certain I've got something chartreusey. And this is crinkle hair. This is for dry flies. That's the wrong stuff. Let's go. Let's see. Alright, this will have to work. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't have just chartreuse. So we're going to go with this, they call it a blue needlefish, but that's pretty darn bright. I don't have a, or wait. No, I already established that was in the wrong position. So we'll take a little bit of bright chartreuse off of this. I like that. Set you off to the side. You know what? We're not going to double that. We're just going to send it as is. Taper that out just a tick. One, two. Nice and tight. Alright, next we need our orange. Orange. I think the orange we can harvest that right off of our first batch. Boy, this is looking good. And this we can take half as much as what we need. I'll flip it over, give it a trim, and look at that. Okay. 1, 2. And then we still need our olive. I'm going to go with this bait fish olive. This is a little bit of everything in the kitchen sink. Now this is so much, this looks absolutely stunning when we do this with what do you want to call it? Bucktail. Alright, a little dab of olive on there. I'm just going to do one wrap. Just one wrap to pinch that on there. And then last but not least, a little bit of brown. And we'll just do that. Flip that over once. And that will kind of be the top spine of it all. So I just want to make sure that goes all the way back. And I give that a little brush. There we go. See how we got that little kind of rainbow of yellow chartreuse. Chartreuse could be a little bit brighter, but it is what it is. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that little batch. And just like all the other ones, we're going to go at an angled cut. And if we're lucky, we'll end up with a nice cone head working our way towards the front. Nice and tight. I can't emphasize. Don't break your thread, but we need this nice and tight. Holding all of that in is a lot of effort. And tying it with the 210 denier flat wax thread that we're tying, that wax really helps to bind and grab and grip onto everything. As you add tension to your waxed line on this nylon, the nylon, it has just a little stretch to it, and when it stretches, it creates friction. Friction creates heat. Heat heats the wax, or melts the wax. And then when the wax solidifies, when it dries, as it cools from its little instant burst of heat, it's awesome. If you think about it, all the things that are happening in there. I've spent some time looking into different books of different knots, and there's ratios and math behind this, that, and the other, and I don't know. It's good stuff. What can I say? So that's more or less a fire tiger, but with actual bucktail, it all just really stands out, jumps out, really is just, it's a beautiful, beautiful variation. So what do you guys think? Clouser. The Congo Clouser. Alright, a little dab of insurance policy. And you know what? Just because we can, we're going to go a little special on this one. I'm trying to shake up the bottle. Here we go. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Can I do it? Is it possible? This is the good stuff here. Disco. It says disco ball. Disco. You want to be careful with this, because you get a little bit of glitter anywhere. It is everywhere. And this is going to be just a little magic touch right up front on that nose. You'll know about it, we'll know about it. And I swear, sometimes the fish know about it. They respect it. Really work it in there. So I think my plan is working thus far tonight. As far as keeping everything connected. I like it. Boy, I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, Dave, I agree 1,000%. The bucktail definitely gives it a lot more contrast, but it is what it is. It's a pretty little fly. Let's see if we can't zoom in so I can see if you guys can see the awesomeness that is on the front end there. I don't know if it comes in or not, but nice crisscross lattice. I like to make it look like a lattice on the back end. But, just that nice cone front end is what we're looking for with our Clousers, and, that 1/3, 2/3 point, that balance point. If you're going with a longer hook, you want to proportion that out accordingly. Zoom out. zoom in. Here we go. Questions, comments, concerns, what do we think? Thoughts? Good, bad, ugly? Well, I think so far we are just gonna just straight send it tonight. We're not gonna take an actual pause for the cause. Um, yeah, I think we're just gonna keep rolling with it. Let's flip that camera over. Send it. Boy, that guy. that. So yeah, if you're a sniper or artillery or shooting things, you know all about sending it. But I don't know what that guy's name is. He's Canadian and he jumps a snowmobile and absolutely hilarious. It's one of those things that has found its way onto the internet and has maintained its internet gold status for quite some time, at least in my heart. Um, so let's think about one more or two more colors. What's a good hot color out there, Dave? I'm kind of my mentality of kind of matching the hatch of everything's kind of fall autumnish, orange, yellow, gold, fiery. That's kind of my mentality right now as far as what color things could be or should be. I'm thinking about I got some chartreuse. I got at least one chartreuse eye I want to tie in there. So I'm thinking maybe a dark bodied with the chartreuse eyes to contrast. And I'm gonna switch out threads because I don't think I want to do that with the chartreuse thread, because then you just kind of lose the eyes up front. Or we could just tie a chartreuse and let it all blend in, and I don't know. I like contrast. It grabs the fish's attention, I think. I don't know. Let's see here. Well, we got a good crowd tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in. 9 of us. Good turnout. I really appreciate it. I can't say it enough, but I really do appreciate it. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and joining. Obviously, I can tie flies with nobody watching. We can all tie flies with nothing watching. Small bait fish, synthetic pattern now. Oh, we're going to keep going with Clousers. I can't give away next week's pattern. We might tie, you know what, we might just go along with the same material next week and do some little bait fish patterns. I have to get my glue. That's why I did not, I was thinking about doing bait fish patterns. Basically the same concept as we got going on here, slightly different, but I had to get glue so I could glue the eyes on to secure that. But yeah, we'll probably do that next week. I will confer with the higher ups. Anyways, let's go ahead and let's tie up a couple more. Let's slide this over to that camera. Beep bop a doop bop, and there we go. Alright, so we wanted to switch our thread and to find it. There it is. Oh boy, we're almost to the end of this spool, so we will do it the proper, give it the proper send off, and expend all ammo on this spool of thread. Just gotta make sure we get the right one, and that might just flip around and bounce around, but we'll deal with it. I don't know where these little blue threaders go when they disappear, but somewhere, presumably, there has to be a stash of 30, 40 of them. There's been some waxed thread ran through there, built up. Here we go. Alright, remove this. I think that's kind of tacky enough. We can hang that off to the side. I like that glitter in there. We'll probably do the glitter on this next one too. Heads up. Heads up. So, here in St. Cloud on the east side, we have a new store to the east side called Runnings. And I went and checked out Runnings the other day just to see what it was all about. I've never been to a Runnings before. And guess what? I didn't spend too much time in there because I don't like spending much time anywhere. I was actually looking for a couple specific items that they did not have. But I did a walk by their rods, and I saw that they have a 7/8 weight rod reel combo for $69. For $69, you could have a rod reel combo. Now, the quality of that rod reel combo, I don't know. I haven't fished it, but I would venture to guess there is a reason why it's valued at $69. Now, that being said, I might pick that up just because. It might just be a great thing to have in the back. Alright, couple crisscross wraps. Like in the good old days. Make sure the camera is still cameraing. Sometimes you just have to force things into submission, which is what I'm doing, I believe, with the camera and the phone right here tonight. Well, let's get some tension on there. Here we go. What I did is I actually turned off mobile data on the phone. Turned that section off. I turned off the Bluetooth, and basically its only connection with the outside world is the Wi-Fi. And that's what we need it to run on in order to get the signal from the camera, from the phone, all the way to the computer. So it goes all around and around and around. Let's go. This is what I was looking for. We'll do this olive belly. Like we did before. We'll kind of fluff it out. Make sure we got a nice taper on the back end there. All right. Do our little open spiral towards the rear. You can really see that contrast on this. Right to that bend, turn and burn, and we'll crisscross our way right up front. And if you do it properly, patiently, you get a nice crisscross wrap. Some people dig it, some people don't. I dig it. We'll do our nice little tapered cut. There we go. Right back to those eyeballs. I like that. Alright, let's grab our flash, and I'm going to do this. We're going to go with just plain crystal flash on this. Plain Jane, run-of-the-mill, regular crystal flash. Grab 1, 2, what do I got? 3 bits. 3 bits will do it. That'll work just fine. Because we're going to fold that over, and 3 will suddenly become 6. Guess I didn't have to trim that, but we did. That'll work just fine, fine, fine. Alright, now for my final act. Nope, this won't be the final act. We got plenty of time. Got about 20 minutes left. How we doing out there? What's been our favorite color combo thus far? This is going to be a minnow black olive. So on this one we're actually going to try to go for some of these darker bits. And you know what? I'm thinking maybe next week we might continue on with a maybe some zonker Clousers, some rabbit Clousers. We could start exploring some different, just all the different ways you could tie a Clouser, different variations. So I think what do they call it? A double bunny? A double bunny? Isn't that the same as basically a rabbit-haired Clouser? I'm just kind of thinking out loud to myself. I don't know though. Taper that all out. We're just looking at that tapered end. That side doesn't matter because we're going to end up trimming that off. I like that. Make sure we're nice and even. Couple more locking wraps. And we'll give that a nice angled cut. That way when we go to cinch it down, we'll get a nice cone head. Because unlike the natural material, this Congo hair, it doesn't really compress. It doesn't have a compression factor like a natural deer hair bucktail would. So that's why when we tie with it, we just want to make sure we're just keeping track of where everything's going. and where things are ending at the end. Let's do a whip finish. And I like that. I think we got enough thread on there to maybe do one more. And we definitely have the time. And I haven't done it tonight, but I always recommend taking the opportunity before you fish. Mash that barb down on that hook. Some people do it on the bench. I like to do it on the water. That's my personal preference. I've even seen some people take their vise and just mash it like that, but don't use your $100 jaws to smash a 2-cent hook barb down. You got other pliers, and you can easily also, oh yeah, we haven't done this in a while. What you could do is use the back of your scissors, the flat part. They have to be, this style of scissors. If you have, where's these ones? This end, it's not going to work as well because it's got that big opening. What we're looking for is that flat bit, and you can take that flat bit and just mash that barb down. See ya. Alright, let's take this and we're gonna use our disco ball. There it is. Number 129 disco ball. The secret sauce. Give it a good shake. Make sure the cap is on it nice and tight. And we're going to just add a little bit at a time. And if it gets going too much, we can just take Mr. Bodkin. Yeah, that was a big blob. So we're going to use the bodkin, smear that around. Get into that in between the eyes. I really like to get a little dab right between the eyes because that's a contact point when it's dredging against the rocks. If you're fishing in the rocks. If you're not fishing in the rocks, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. There you go, a little disco ball action, huh? Yeah, you can see that sparkle in there. I can see that sparkle in there. I kind of like that. But we'll just make sure it dries nice and even. See, it started to get tacky and I just had to touch it. Boy, oh boy. I like that. I really do. Alrighty. We'll set this one off to the side. This will be our last one of the evening. I'm going to tie one last Congo Clouser. And then I'm thinking maybe next week, I'm thinking maybe we'll do something with rabbit. Actually no, what I was looking at was the Assam. ASSOM. Assam Dragon. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the fly of the day. And the fly of the day is a magical pattern. It just works magic. And that's all there is about that. The Assam Dragon. I was looking at I think it was the best bass flies to tie book. Um, I keep a fly tying book in my truck. So if I get stuck somewhere and I don't know, for me, if I'm flipping around on my phone too much, I get a little dizzy. To be honest, I can give myself the dizzies if I'm scrolling and trying to read or watch a video or something. And I'm talking when I'm sitting in a parking lot waiting. I'm not messing around with my phone at red lights or anything like that. I'm in a parking lot waiting on something. So a book. A book it is. The hard copy of it's a hard copy of YouTube. What? Who took these who took YouTube and made it into a hard copy and bound it between two covers, spiral bound? I don't know. I just joined a fly tying, I think it's a fly tying library, book library Facebook group. There's just people posting pictures of their recent fly tying book purchases. And you can't have enough books in my opinion, but that's my opinion. Uh, I think a fly tyers, what do I say? A fly tyers bench without books is like a house without a window, right? Namaste. I think that'll work. All right. We're going to go with that olive again. And then we're going to add just a touch of red. We'll finish this one off with just a little touch of red underneath. A little bloody hell on there. Let's get this going. Taper that out. So here we are, end of September, looking into October. Holy smokes, tomorrow is October the 1st. I don't know what to think about that. I've already taken care of my neighbor's leaves across the street, and then I mowed my other neighbor's lawn today, that I take care of her lawn. And it's just I'm looking at the leaves on the ground, which isn't bad, because when you look at the leaves up top that are still up in the trees, but the colors, if you're not in the area, if you're not Minnesota, and you're not enjoying the beautiful colors, the change in the trees, in the maples, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I got one of my neighbor's trees. It just looks like it was on fire today. And the other one, when I mowed it, boy, I tell you what, it looked like I mowed over grapes when I was done with it. It was just so cherry red. It looked like, yeah, cherries. It was a cherry red color. Just fantastic. Oh yeah, we're gonna add our little dab of red. Speaking of red, don't want to forget this one. Just a little tint, just a little hint of red in there. Go ahead and give that the old flipperoo. And we are on to our flash. We'll get our crystal flash. Let's see, that's half a package done right there. We'll have to give it the old flipperoo and get to the other side. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. 3 strands. I'll give that a flip over once. And now we'll have 6. And I'm just going to give that a trim. I like it. Alright, and I like this darker kind of a freaky... this looks like Halloween hair if you ask me. I mean, this should be Elvira or whatever, Mama Munster. Going for that darker tone out of there. Keeping it sparse, less is more or less. Alright, I'll flip that over once. I like that. A little bit of green in there, a little bit of, it almost looks like a little bit of blue. Good color combination. Well done. Fly Tyers Dungeon. Check them out. Not endorsed, promoter, whatever, but that's where it came from. Fly Tyers Dungeon. Usually got a good deals going on around Christmas time, around the holidays. Got a little variety pack. So when I first discovered, I bought one of every one. Bought one of every variety pack and just, I mean, you get variety, and you know what? I like variety. Boy, that's pretty darn good. So what was your favorite color combination of Congo Clousers tonight? I think this one might actually be, may or may not be. We shall see. We're not done with this one yet. When I'm looking at Clousers, I really judge them by their eye location and how the taper looks on the front end. If I want to be critical about it. Nice and tight, nice and tight, nice and tight. And what I love about the Clouser is you can scale it up or down. And you can tie it in a 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, 6/0. You tie it down to a size, I don't know, as small as you can get the bead, I guess. Or as small as you can get the eyes. And at that point you're getting down to like bead chain. Boy, that looks mean. That looks mean. He's a bad mamma jamma. And it is wise if you are hitting the river with these types of like synthetic flies. Get yourself a 99-cent comb or 50-cent pocket comb or or something like this, or whatever, that you can brush this all out on the riverside, on the water side, in the thick of the action, if need be. Especially if it gets into a couple fish's mouth, it's gonna get twisted, it's gonna get tangled. So yeah, it's just something to be mindful of when you're hitting the water. Might have to do a little stream side repair. I used to have some glue with me out on the water and stuff like that, but at one point it got moved, I think maybe during the winter months or whatever, and it just didn't get replaced or got used or something. But I like this glitter, I like this disco ball. Right there between the eyes. I really like this disco ball. Disco, disco. Yeah, buddy. All right. Well, that is going to be it for us for our time tonight. We want to make sure we give that a few seconds, because if you just let it sit, if you got too much goop on there, it'll definitely goop over, and then you'll get some sort of like double chin on your clouser. But because the way it's oriented, it will actually be upside down. Alright, let's see here. Outro, ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Here we go. Now we can hit this point of the evening where I get to say thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, it's the end of September. That means we are into October. October. Holy smokes. We'll have our next live stream, Project Healing Waters. Will be, let's see, it'll be what, October the 5th, 10/5. Ooh, you know what movie I should watch? Hunt for the Red October. That's a good one. Anywho, yeah, so that's it for our Congo Clousers. Hope you learned a trick or two, or at least had a laugh or two with me. I'm super glad that we didn't have any technical difficulties. I'm super glad we got through this without any hitches. And with that, we went non-stop, no breaks, no pauses for the causes. My ears hurt. These headphones are just killing me, but we do it for you. This is our Project Healing Water special in support of my local Project Healing Waters program at the St. Cloud, VA. Check it out, projecthealingwaters.org. Gee whiz. All right, thank you all one last time. Let's get this thing to flip over. And stay healthy, everybody. Please stay safe. Take care of each other. Happy tying, and yeah, sure, you betcha. Tight lines. Peace.